What's up? I'm Kyle.
I'm Brendan.
And welcome to the Brain Buffet. So you ready to get your lottery ticket?
No.
Yeah, no, I can't. And anybody who's wondering what we're talking about, we live in the great state of Ohio, and our awesome governor had the great idea that there's going to be, I think it was like, the word was literally lottery, right? Like there's some sort of blitz or raffle or something.
I don't think he worded it like it's a lottery or anything, but I've seen a lot of people calling it that, and I've been calling it that myself as well, because essentially that's what it is. It's a lottery.
So the idea is he's promoting, if you get the jab, you get an entry into one of 5 people drawing to win $1 million. And what is it, like 1,000 installments or something?
I didn't see what the actual, like, if it was an installment plan. I'm sure it is something like that. But
what?
But like, regardless if that's installment plans, it's still, he's bribing people to get a shot.
He's bribing people to get the shot for a shot.
Yeah.
What a world we live in when that's insane. That's the case.
And like, it's not like it's a good chance even. Like, say you're even gonna do it. 5 people out of the 12 million that live in our state, it's extremely low chances.
Right.
For $1 million. While sure, that's a lot of money and can change somebody's life, that can also be sacrificing your life depending.
Sure. Started with the donuts and now it's up to a lottery.
Yeah. And I can't remember exactly, but I seen someone say something like, there's talks about it being funded by the lottery, like the Ohio lottery. So like the Mega Millions and stuff that. Yeah. Like, it's always been advised against not be addicted to gambling.
Sure. I'm curious. I don't know anybody else who lives in different states, different countries. I mean, I know there's some crazy history when you get to it, but has there ever been in time before where there is a winning system if you take some sort of medicine, experimental or not, that's your qualifying ticket? Like to get, I mean, I would even broaden it to even prescriptions, like even if it's a pill. I mean, I know this situation, we're talking about a jab, a shot, but that's the entry to potentially winning $1 million. Potentially.
I would hope that that's not been a thing. I know there has been things where you will get something and they'll pay you to do it as like an experiment, like you're essentially a lab rat for whatever you might be, but like it is guaranteed pay. They're saying you come here and we'll give you
the test subject, I think is what they call it.
Yeah. You come here, test out this medicine, see what it does, and we'll give you $6,000 or whatever it may be, just to go like try out a male birth control or something of that nature, whatever it may be. But that's guaranteed money.
Sure.
This is literally a chance.
Oh my gosh. It's hard to even consider that that's actual reality. Like, yeah. I really don't even know if I could wrap my head around it. I don't get it.
It's literally a joke.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. That's the only... It's got to be. I mean, I'm laughing about it.
Yeah,
I'm laughing about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the thing that makes you get it.
A chance.
Oh my gosh.
I can't even break those numbers down.
I know like there's a lot of people struggling out there financially, but there are better ways. There are better ways.
Yeah, for sure. And playing the lottery isn't it. Because it's literally just a shot in the dark.
Yeah, no. There's such irony in that.
Pun intended.
I don't know. I don't even know if I could offer much food for thought on that in the sense of trying to understand it, because that's just ridiculous. That came out today, right? I think that came out today. That was information.
It's been a couple days now, I believe. Yeah.
I'm glad it's now just hitting my radar.
Yeah, for sure. I'm completely baffled by it because, like, people are obsessing over this, and there's like one end of people being like, I hope more people don't get it so I have a higher chance of winning, which like these people are extremely supportive of the vaccine, and they've been saying this whole time to go get vaccinated and stuff because they already are, and they're telling other people to. Then they're like, I hope more people don't get it. So now you're against it,
right? Well,
you're against other people getting it, but you're for the vaccine.
No common sense.
But they're running off of greed.
Oh, for sure.
It's literally greed driven.
And what's so weird of what you were just saying about that is with the whole drive for this whole push, and literally a push for this vaccination, is that they need 70% or something like that to reach herd immunity. I think that's the thing that they pulled out of their little magic hat.
Yeah.
Well, if you're trying to get that and you offer this idea to promote that, and now you got people saying, I don't want them to get that because it betters my chances. What?
Yeah.
Like you're getting something so that you can partake in this whole idea because, you want to make the world a better place.
And the thought of them not wanting other people to get it it's actually kind of concerning, because in their mind, getting the vaccine is saving lives. By telling people to not get it, in their mind, is killing people.
Wow, look at that.
In their mind. So they're willing to sacrifice a life for $1 million in their mind.
For a chance.
For a chance at $1 million.
For a slightly slim 0.0000000 decimal chance.
Yeah.
Increase.
And the government's okay with that.
I don't know. I think we're living in a true stupid test right now. Like just in general. Like all the warning labels are being ripped off.
Just a bunch of dunce caps on
people. Exactly. I mean, I've heard this idea going around that we're watching a movie, and it truly seems like it. Like
for sure.
It's so crazy. The other day I was sitting, I think I was telling you before, but I was sitting down here and I had the TV on in the background, and I saw somebody take a breaking news announcement, right? Breaking news announcement. They pull away from the program and they inform us that Chick-fil-A is not giving out extra sauces. And I'm just like, what? Like, this is what our breaking news is doing right now?
It's a joke.
It really is. It's getting ridiculous.
Our lives are becoming a joke. And we hope that you don't miss the punchline.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been crazy, especially with everything in the past like 2 weeks and stuff like that. But the sad reality of it is there's actually real things going on out there that they
for sure
should be informing us about.
This is the way it is right now. Have you seen the movie The Hunger Games?
Oh yeah.
It almost feels like that.
Yeah, I can.
Whoever happens to win eats well.
I want to say this one time because I'll never be able to say this with anything else. I not only watched the movies, but I actually read the book series. But that's like the only books I've ever read. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
but
for sure. But
the wealthier you are, the better you eat.
Yeah. And people are like so against each other in this exact moment because of the offering of $1 million, like at an offering of a chance.
And I know we've referenced to the whole kind of, slightly tapped into the economy and where this money comes from. Its only true value is what we make it. And so they're willing to risk anything over just this idea,
Yeah.
A lack of awareness.
A
true lack of awareness.
Yeah, it really is. And people are having a hard time picturing it, seeing it. They can't envision what's really happening. Doesn't it just seem wrong that you're being bribed to get a shot that is experimental in nature? It hasn't been used until it's been shot into people.
Like, think? Well, even I think I saw the I don't know when it was, last week or something like that the end trial for the experiment doesn't end until 2023. What?
Which is how normal medicine operates. If you're letting normal medicine be passed through the FDA or the CDC, whatever it may be, it has to go through the whole trialing process, and then it has to be approved. This isn't non-approved.
No, emergency approval only, which is only because we were in a national state of emergency for this pandemic. But if you remove that, it's entirely illegal.
Yeah. everything about it.
Right. I don't know. When you were talking about the bribing before, as far as getting it, not that I was in, I don't know. There was a flu shots, right? And I never really got one, and I didn't get it when I saw this, but I was going through the grocery store, and the grocery store was offering $5 off your grocery bill if you got the flu shot. And I'm just thinking, what? Like, are you serious? Like, who's doing that? Who's walking around the grocery store and like, ooh, I could save $5. Here you go, stick me.
Yep. Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah. It's funny though about the flu shot. Like, so for a very long period of time, I wouldn't get the flu shot. Like, I was very against it. Then I was like 17 or so and I got it. In that year, I got the worst flu of my life. I was bedridden for like 2 weeks. It was awful. It's just like, I'm never getting the flu shot again. If this is how it makes me feel.
Like that, sure.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten a flu like that since.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
it's wild.
Not that I would ever tell anybody medical advice because I'm not a doctor. But even myself, I've never really gotten one and I don't really get sick. I mean, thankfully I'm young and hopefully have a decent immune system, but I don't know. It just was ridiculous. $5 off your grocery bill.
Yeah,
what?
For sure.
What is that? That's like just a little bit over a gallon of milk.
Yeah. There's got to be something illegal about bribing people in such a way.
I mean, yeah, if
a chance it's the golden ticket. You go buy a chocolate bar and you might get a golden ticket.
It's so true. And what's so crazy is with this whole national state of emergency, it's supposed to be so deadly, right? So deadly that you have to bribe people with $1 million to take it. Like, I don't know. It just, there's definitely a fishy smell for sure. And it's got to be illegal. It has to be illegal.
Yeah, but
I'm not a lawyer either, but come on.
What's illegal to the governments though?
Especially during when they have the whole, they have the whole show right now.
Yeah. Literally, they can
wave their magic wand.
Yeah, whatever they want to do right now, they can. And nobody's going to say anything because someone's going to say, oh, well, they have good intentions in mind.
Yeah. They can literally make any sounds with their mouth.
Yeah.
Their faces can make any noises and people would listen right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why it's got to start from within people. It has to start there because you can't wait for somebody else to tell you when,
Yeah, no, for sure. And the thing with this though, there's a few ends to the people that are getting the shot. Mm-hmm. There's people who have gotten it and are extremely supportive of it. There's people who are teetering the line who don't know if they want to get the shot or whatever. They're not really sure. And then there's people who are completely against it. Those are kind of like the three levels that there are. There's some stragglers in between, but those are the main three. So with this bribe, the people that are completely against it, they're not going to turn. They're not going to think of like, all right, I'll go get it for a chance at $1 million because they're already completely against it and they completely don't trust it.
Yeah.
In their mind, they're not sacrificing their life for $1 million. People that are teetering the line, they kind of like lean both ways, but that $1 million bribe is going to push them over
to get it. Yeah. Well, if you have common sense, again,
it might push some people away because they'll be like, wow, they really have to bribe me.
I know.
But some people
that's what I think.
It'll be an odd thing with people teetering the line. They might go both ways.
I'm sure there's going to be people waiting in line for it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can probably look it up online and you'll see a line as big as when the the new iPhone's coming out or whatever.
I wonder if anybody's asked, can I get two and get a little entry? Load me up. Oh,
I've seen someone post something like that. Like, oh, I got both of them. Because they're saying it's wild though. For the chance to win, you only need to get your first round.
Oh.
You don't even have to have the second round, and they say you're not even fully vaccinated until you get the second round of vaccines.
What's that promoting then? You know what I mean? That's just promoting people to get the first shot. Because you don't have to follow through with it.
Right, no. But that's, I think, more than anything, that's promoting compliance.
Oh, how many people, when they say jump, how many people jump?
Yeah. How many people say how high?
Yeah, no, there's a cliff and they just point the finger and say go and see
who starts running.
Hey, maybe that is.
You got the herder and the sheep, and he starts pushing. Are you going to go around him and go behind him, or are you going to go out the edge?
That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe it does come down to that to an extent. Maybe this whole thing is just a test for the next level.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Yeah, it's just, what are they complying to now that we can push them even further to?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Okay, yeah, like putting their foot down, and they're like halfway, and they're like, oh, they put the big toe down. Ooh, Can we get one more?
Exactly.
Oh, we can get one more. Can we do it? Can we do that?
They're gonna.
Wow, they'll do anything we say.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, right now is like.
I think
a lot of toes in there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They're pushing extremely hard right now. I feel like it's been pretty minor. And I feel like one of the biggest thing that's going to happen next that they're going to try to push for is going to be gun control.
Ooh, good luck.
Good luck, yes. But they're already tipping towards it. They're working on it right now. The Biden administration is. So with them pushing, they're seeing how much control they truly have over people. Because if you can control somebody's body, you can control anything about their personal lives.
Yeah. What if? Okay, so yes, I think that's great. I think it was very slow pressure, starting up, and I think that was the science behind it, because you don't really. I mean, like the whole boiling frog thing. The frog doesn't know it's boiling until it's too late to get out.
Yep.
But my question is that foot coming down fast and staying down? Or is there just an illusion of what that foot is coming down so that people can wake up? Meaning, like, a lot of the stuff that they say, how much weight does it really hold? Like, I know their face is making the sound, but like, what real implications? Like, has there really been much? I mean, I know we're going through a lot in the sense of like, well, I guess the pipeline situation, the first original one, not the hacking one, but you know what I mean? Like, how much of this is really rolling out? Versus the theatrics.
I mean, it can't be blatantly obvious the real things that are being put into place, because if you're pressuring extremely heavy on things that are completely obvious, blatantly obvious, that are essentially taking away your rights, that's going to have a lot more back push than little things to start.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
But they started that already, like way back when. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it gets so weird to a point for me, and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but it gets so weird for me to a point because like there's always this like, oh, well, that'll never happen. Like that's unrealistic. But if beginning of 2019, if you told me that people would be locked down and have to wear face masks and there'd be $1 million lottery for 5 people who get the jab, I'd be like, you are cuckoo. You know, like you're ridiculous.
No way.
But look at us now.
Yeah, here we are.
So it's so crazy because the future has always seemed strangely unpredictable, but
this is beyond unpredictable. This is unimaginable. What is going on right now is unbelievable.
We're living in a historical, but almost, I mean, I'd say biblical time. Like this is crazy. Like it's a culmination of everything.
I mean, I'm not like a big historian or anything, but like this is massive in the timeline of history. Like,
well, if you just think of everything going on, like I think that's part of it too, because there's a lot of big events, but it's all happening right now.
Yeah,
like it's like everything. Whether
it's how much is happening at one given moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just even if we would just want to like shrink it down to just our country.
It's
you don't even have to look outside of our country for it to be like.
I think we're a magnifying glass, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
like because we're of our beautiful diversity, part of that allows magnified, like kind of small effects. You know what I mean? Scattered throughout.
Right.
I don't think it's it's definitely not a systemic thing. And it's not a cultural thing. Right. I think it's just little riffs kind of thing. But I could be wrong too.
Yeah. You know what I'd like to look into is. Who gave DeWine the approval to do this giveaway thing?
That's a great question. But then I would also ask, like what you said before, with everything going on right now in the sense of the state of emergency, does he need one? I mean, I think the Constitution, I mean, at what point do we, the people, have to stand up and say they're not representing us the way that we elected them to be? You know, because it's not only our duty, it's our right to.
Yeah, it needs to be a group thing.
The way that you worded that is if, like, the approval, you know? Yeah. We are the approval, technically.
Well, we're meant to be, but he just overrides us.
Sure.
At any given moment. Someone had to come to an agreement for him to even say this publicly.
Yeah.
The funding has to come from somewhere. Sure, it's only $5 million, which isn't much in the scheme of the $6 trillion we've given away this year alone, or whatever it is. I think it's $4 trillion, maybe, or whatever. Our debt's increased like $6 trillion within the last year. Whatever.
Right.
$5 million is not much, but like, it came from somewhere. Someone funded that.
Oh, the Federal Reserve printing system. But no, I get what you're saying. Or wasn't it? Didn't you say it was like reserves of the COVID packet or something like that? Or package?
I've heard things about maybe the Ohio lottery.
That's even weirder.
There's no solid ground behind that. I don't really know. If that is the case, that's wild. That's promoting the Ohio lottery, buying lottery tickets and gambling.
Well, that's that's a government partnering with a lottery.
Yeah. Like, you might as well just go take all the money you have and just put it on black at the casino.
Because you ain't living long. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I would like to look into that, though. Like, actually, like, there's got to be some type of paperwork somewhere that's public, because it should be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. And I think kind of what we're getting at a little bit is accountability, because, I mean, let's be honest. If that's not legal, where is the accountability being held? I think I sent you an article about how there's like 1,000 lawyers and 10,000 medical experts that are going to the World Health Organization. I'm sorry, opening a lawsuit against the World Health Organization for some serious crimes.
Yeah, crimes against humanity, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's incredible. I bet
that's insane. That's literally. I mean, there's only a few times in history that's happened.
Yeah, for sure. I bet if you were to trace it back right now, in one way or another, the idea of, I wouldn't say the idea is coming from, like, I don't think it's an idea of the medical field to do this giveaway.
Oh, sure. I'm sure not.
Potentially funded.
Sure.
By, like, say Moderna were to, or Johnson & Johnson or something of that. Like,
well, part of my question too would be like, is this like all the extra like doses that they just had by, you know, they're like, oh, we need to get rid, let's just give, you know what I mean? Like, incentivize it.
And it's wild because they were initially talking about not having enough of anything to have everyone fully vaccinated by like next year, like 2022. Like, it was initially something like that. Like, but now all of a sudden we have all this extra. Like, what did you do? Take a bunch of them and dilute it with water, so now you have 2 instead of 1? Like,
did you see the video of the guy? This dude is not only a patriot, but a hero, in my opinion, because who knows what legally is going to happen to him after this? But he did it twice. He went into some sort of clinic area and got in line for a COVID vaccine. He asked if he could see the vial. He's like, oh, well, I'm going to get it anyways. Just, can I see it real quick? I just want to check it out. He got the vial and he took it and he left. And he sent it, and he did it also at like some sort of other pharmacy or something like that. It's funny. He took off his mask. He's like, here, I'll trade you. Gave him the mask and took the thing. But he's going to send it overnight to a lab to get it tested. Because the weird thing is I also saw some pharmacist, she was pulling out the vaccine and she pulled out the paper spread that was supposed to have all the information on it, whether the ingredients or whatever. It was blank. Just a giant, and I mean it was a big piece of paper. Blank. Absolutely blank. Wow. And what? Like,
I'm missing a couple words here.
I don't know what's going to happen to him legally, because I'm sure they're not going to like that too well.
I'm sure there's about to be something.
But hey, man, that if he starts to go fund me to hire some lawyers, I'll give him some bucks.
Yeah, throw him $10.
Yeah, for sure.
That's wild. Did you see? There was a doctor. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like he knowingly had bad vaccines that he just like had left sitting out or something. Like they're supposed to be refrigerated.
Oh my gosh.
And he just kept giving them to people. He ended up getting fired for malpractice or whatever. And I think I'm sure he's getting sued. But like, wow.
The repercussions of that though, like that's not something that you just gamble with.
Yeah, for sure.
And no pun intended. I mean, actually, no pun intended.
Full
there.
pun.
Right. I mean, come on. That's just, it's bananas.
It makes it, little things like that make it so hard to trust the medical field.
Sure. And you're supposed to be able to. And that's why I kind of feel, I really do feel bad for the older population, the older generations, because they used to be able to actually trust their doctors. Yeah. You know, there was a time where they were trustworthy.
Yeah.
But now it's just not the same. And it's so sad because not all of them. I have, seen some or talked to some who are aware, but the ones who just, go along because that's just how it is, you know, and they're like guinea pigs almost. And it's so sad.
Did you see Joe Rogan on he had a podcast and he said something like, actually it became a meme, but like he said something like people that are fully healthy and stuff, young and have no like health issues, he's like, should not get the vaccine. Yeah. He's like, there's no reason that they should. He ended up having to come back on to like apologize and stuff like that because people started attacking him, and like they're talking about not following. You shouldn't follow Joe Rogan because he's not a doctor. But then they're like, everyone's saying, oh, listen to Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Bill Gates isn't a doctor either.
No, he just causes viruses on computers. That's all.
Yeah.
I heard about that meme, but it's so crazy. He received backlash for that. Like,
yeah,
he's a very health conscious person. And to consider, I mean, first of all, any medical person who disagrees with the fact of, physical exercise, eating healthy, like that is a way to build a good immune system.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's the best way.
And that's what he promotes.
Yeah.
And to take that idea and say like, oh, well, that doesn't work if you don't get the vaccine. Like, what?
Right.
Get out of here with that.
And then to sit there and say you shouldn't listen to a doctor, but you lead so many people towards Bill Gates, like,
and promote him.
Yeah. Bill Gates isn't a doctor either, but he's one of the largest, like, funders and one of the biggest spokespeople for the entire medicinal field.
Yeah. Dude, we live in a clown world. There's no way of getting around it. We live in a clown world.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a lot of stuff to kind of, I mean, I don't know. It's not a crazy thing is this cluster is so interwoven that it's going to take, I hate to say it, but it's going to take some time to unweave. But there's some big moves on these election forensic audits. Maricopa County's almost done. And I hear they have some damning evidence.
Yeah.
And then Michigan just the other day said that they are doing a full statewide forensic audit as well. And I think there's a couple scattered ones that aren't necessarily getting some light, but that's domino effect. You know what I mean? If one of them comes back as if there was some sort of fraudulent activity, regardless for who or not, clearly there would only be one reason too. But regardless of the fact, it would only cause a domino effect. Like
for sure.
They'd have to.
Yeah. That looks so bad.
Horrible.
It looks so bad that an election is able to be rigged. It makes you feel like you don't have a voice. We're meant to have this voice, but elections are being rigged.
You know what's so weird about it? The company was called Dominion. Think about it. We have dominion over you. Yeah. You think you have a vote, but you don't have a vote.
Yeah, you have no control.
No, we pull the strings around here. And it's I mean, that's part of the great illusion. You know what I mean? Like the whole idea that, but it's so empowering too, though, because why would they do that? They would only do that because they're afraid.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Not necessarily of violence, but just the idea that they're well aware we don't agree with it as a mass.
Right. I don't know. Elections are interesting within themselves anyways.
Sure.
The thing that's never made sense to me is electoral colleges.
Oh, okay. I can kind of explain that.
I mean,
what's your question? Why?
I get it to an extent because I know some states will tend to lean one direction over another, and there's more population or whatever it may be in a certain area and trying to give an equal voice, yes. I suppose.
Yeah.
But if the people vote for a specific person, why does there need to be an electoral college, even if someone wins majority vote?
So, okay, that's all right. Perfect. Because it's not a popularity contest. It's not a democracy. That's kind of a false idea. It's not actually a democracy. We're a democratic republic. So a republic of states that come together, and we are democratic in the idea that we do vote, you know, but the reason for that is the idea of electoral college, that and population. So if we didn't have the electoral college, basically, not to brush it with an entire general stroke, but basically Los Angeles and New York City would decide who's president every single time because there's so many people there, and they not 100%, but they relatively are similar believed, you know what I mean? Relatively. And so because of that, because it's so oversaturated, and I'm not just saying those two, there's probably a couple other ones as well, but you would essentially have the country controlled by four cities, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's not the idea of what our country is. And so even still, it's a little strange because why does and I don't know the Electoral College map by heart, so please don't butcher me for getting this wrong, but Montana or Utah or something like that, or you know, Idaho might have 2 to 6 Electoral College votes because of their population size, and versus California, which I believe has 55. You can check me on that one.
Yeah.
But it's to give everybody a fair voice, you know, because again, you know, I don't want people in LA and New York deciding who I want out there. You know, I'd like it to be Wade. But the biggest idea is we're a democratic republic. We're a republic of states.
So is it the majority vote out of the state is what the electoral college goes towards? So say we'll just go off the last one, Trump and Biden. Say Trump got the majority vote in Ohio, he would win Ohio.
Correct.
Okay.
And then he would earn those electoral college votes. Okay. And it's based upon, I might be wrong on this one, but I do believe the electoral number college votes has a basis, whether it's how many congressional representatives are in your state or your district. There's some sort of way to categorize the fact that okay, they have 5, I think it's congressional representatives. I could be wrong, but therefore they get 5 electoral
votes.
Right. Versus California would have 55 of those.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that is the reasoning for the number of it. And I think there was actually, because of some changes that happened due to population sizes, there were some seats gained and some seats lost in certain places.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Because I mean, it is a lot easier to
think about it, if
an entire city, and
if there was a popular vote, I mean, Hillary would have won.
Yeah, for sure.
And oh my gosh,
what could have happened?
I definitely wouldn't be sitting here.
No. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that does make sense.
It's scary, to be honest with you, because if you did have that, it's so easily manipulated.
Yeah, and all you would have to do is you would just have to promote to those 4 cities. And it would kind of go unnoticed as the rest of the country of what you would actually have to.
What's so sad about it is they even call them. There's no sense of going there except to fly over them.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's why this whole idea of overpopulation just baffles me, because there's so much land out there.
There's so many underpopulated states.
And I'm not saying that we all need to spread out and take over everybody who loves peace and you know, their own getaway. You know, I don't want to go in Montana and
bulldoze all the farms.
Exactly. No, not at all. But just the general concept that there's overpopulation, clearly you haven't flown.
There's underpopulation in a handful of cities. In the sense of in Los Angeles, New York, Las Vegas, the large cities. Sure, there's overpopulation there, but
oh, right,
people could spread out.
Well, part of that is because, and that's one of the beautiful things about it is because of that. If you don't like your state, you can leave.
Yeah, and
that's why all states have different rules. Nevada doesn't have sales tax or state tax. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Florida, or Texas, I'm sorry, doesn't have state tax.
That's kind of odd. to even think about. Like the fact that certain states have sales tax and others don't.
And oh boy, some of them are much higher than others.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think California is the highest.
Ridiculous.
I can't remember exactly what it is. It's over 13% though.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They wanted to hike it even higher too.
Yeah.
They wanted to do something, but I think they even want to do something like the like high 20s, 30 range.
Yeah, probably.
And I think that's why a lot of them were like, see ya.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that.
I mean, right now there's talks of raising tax rates to up to 40%.
Ugh. It's like, come on. When does the show stop?
And it's, I mean,
at what point does everybody reach the precipice?
Yeah, for sure. Why am I giving my time for... You're essentially wasting 40% of your time at work.
No, I recently had somebody talk to me, and they were explaining about their idea of a high car payment. In this reference, it was a truck. And so this person was talking about how, when you're at work, you can look out there and see your vehicle and be like, oh, well, there goes my first 400 something odd dollars, you know what I mean, on my paycheck. Yeah. But wait a minute. What about all the money before that you don't even get to see?
Yeah. So
you don't worry about that. I mean, not to say you don't worry about it, but the fact that it's so easily brushed over.
Yeah. Realistically, there goes the first $600.
It's crazy.
Not to mention the taxes that you're going to have to pay on that payment.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I heard this. I'm definitely not the creator of this for sure, this quote, but I love it. But it said it's so tried and so true that free range humans on a tax farm.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's so crazy.
And we're literally taxed to death.
It's insane.
There's literally a death tax.
I think Trump did remove that though.
Did he?
Or it was the inheritance tax. So like they wouldn't tax your money if they passed it on to a loved one, because again,
I'm sure there's still a death tax or something. It's such a ridiculous concept though. You die and you're going to tax me? What? What does that even mean? I'm dead.
My question is when did that pass? Because when did the show start? Because come on. Again, like what? And who pays that? Like what happens if you don't pay that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you're not paying your income taxes. I'm not saying you're paying that. But if you get in a situation where, say, your loved one, mom, dad, wife, husband, God forbid, kid, anything, and what happens if you just don't pay that? Like, are they really going to come in and arrest you and throw you in jail? And what are they going to put in the headlines, that he didn't pay his death tax for his child? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where is, and I'm not saying start a revolution or nothing based on that, but that's insanity.
That's literally a slap in the face.
Oh my gosh.
Especially if you're to lose like a kid or something like that. And then they're going to be like, yeah, we know you lost your child. We need $10,000.
Yeah.
What?
On top of your $10,000 funeral costs and everything like that.
Why? Oh, taxed to death.
It's insane.
Yeah. It's just wild. You get taxed. By the time you make $1 and you are able to actually spend it, you are actually get like maybe a quarter out of that.
And people want to talk about the gender wage gap. What about that?
Yeah.
What about the humanity wage gap?
Yeah.
We're getting screwed.
Yeah, for real. And it's wild because they keep talking about how like the 40% tax rate wouldn't be affected to us because we aren't high earners like that, but it will trickle down. You think that Walmart's going to take another 20% loss or whatever it might be from whatever? No, they're going to hike their prices, so it comes back to us.
Well, not only that, it just causes all prices to rise.
Yeah,
because it has a ripple effect too.
We're
for sure.
in an extreme scare of a major inflation right now, not just a normal.
Gosh.
Not
Dude,
just.
I think it's already happening.
Oh, it is.
And how it's going to start happening first is you're not just going to first see the prices change, the quantities are going to change.
Yeah.
So like I saw something, and I don't know, I think it was paper towels, and it was the same price, but one of them only had 8 rolls and the other one had like 14 rolls.
Yeah.
And that's the start.
Right.
Like when you see that, that is when it's like, whoa.
I mean, even we're even seeing prices rise.
Mm-hmm.
Lumber cost is the number one thing that I can think of off the top of my head because I work in construction. Mm-hmm. But lumber is absolutely through the roof. I seen this picture that broke it down. It said the cost to build, the amount of homes you could buy or build with $55,000 worth of lumber, and it was like in 2019, you could build like 20 in a 16th of a home or something like that. In 2021 now, with $55,000 of lumber, you can build 2.5.
Wow.
Literally 10 times the difference.
Wow.
Just based on what the lumber costs are right now.
That
and you know what that comes down back to? That's the entire housing market.
Yeah.
Smashed.
Mm-hmm.
Because now every single house is going to go up because we can't build enough houses.
10 times.
Yeah. And that we see that happening, and every house is being just bought up right now because interest rates are so low, and interest rates are going to eventually create this bubble where everything just is booming in price because the interest rates are low. There's a huge demand because everyone thinks they're getting a great deal, and you can't build a new house because it's too expensive. So it's just creating this entire massive bubble that's going to explode, and all of these people are just going to get dropped and screwed.
What happens then?
Chaos.
You think?
Mass hysteria.
Probably. Definitely, potentially.
Yeah. And that's going to be scary to think about too, because we got gas is a huge problem, starting to be a huge problem. We haven't necessarily seen it where we are yet. But I know like parts of the East Coast, like North Carolina, South Carolina, gas stations are literally limiting $30.
Dude, I saw some lady, and I you might have seen this, but some lady was filling up grocery bags.
Yep. And I seen trash bags.
What?
I seen those. I seen some dude with like 10 55-gallon barrels. Like, wow.
Oh my goodness. But what about this? Food for thought. What if we're just exhausting and making a joke? I hate to say joke because people are actually being affected by this, but this whole movie has become a clown show. But what if it's just exhausting all the craziness, and then here comes the Tesla energy? Yeah. We don't need it anymore.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
And I'm not saying, and people will get weirded out because then like, oh, well, where does the jobs go from the, whatever. Why do you need a job? You need a job to pay your bills.
Right.
Okay. Well, your bills are going to hopefully at this point, relatively some idea are going to be taken care of, you know, food. Okay. We'll have to worry about that. We can figure that out though. That's something you got to come together about. But the big thing is, I think, is the transition of power. That's going to be weird, because you still need cops, but cops are going to be a little weirded out too by how to react about them. Because this is not normal. I mean, it's not. It's going to be totally something new. I don't know. I mean, I don't even want to put a word to it.
Right. I seen this thing. So it was like Channel 3 News, Channel 11 News, and Channel 13 News, and there's like these three guys sitting there, and then there's like these two guys with headsets on, and they're like, now tell them that there's a gas shortage, and then like they say it or whatever, and then all of a sudden all these people are buying gas massively in line and stuff, and it's wild because like those people are creating the gas shortage.
Yes, and I was actually going to ask that, how much of it is actually with this pipeline idea, and how much of it is just media hysteria?
It's a combination, because I think the pipeline does create an issue, because that's the ability to easily transfer oil, and now we're relying on China yet again. But
I think it got turned back on though.
I don't really know.
In the only sense that, like, though there was a period of time, I think it was utilized as a tool to create hysteria.
Yeah, sure.
And I don't know if you've looked into crisis actors, but some of them.
Oh, I've seen some of that stuff. Yeah, for sure.
My favorite one was this lady in the grocery store, and she had like a fake wound on her leg about like a bullet, and there was like blood on the thing, and she's just like sitting there smiling and like putting a thumbs up and stuff like that. And it's like,
come
oh
on.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I shared one on our Clout Hub. If you haven't already, we got a Clout Hub and Telegram, so you could check us out there at the Brain Buffet. But it was an actor who was supposed to be playing somebody in a body bag, like a trash bag kind of idea, and he's smoking a cigarette. And I was like, I put it there as like when you're smoking a cig before your next scene.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, come on. It's
what's crazy? There's such simple ways to fix the shortages of things that we're currently having. So back to lumber. You know what would be an amazing alternative to traditional trees?
Hemp.
Yeah. An acre of, I can't remember the exact number, so I might be a little off on this, but an acre of hemp grows, I want to say it's like 10 times more than a traditional acre of trees. And it provides like usable lumber, like 10 times more than an acre of trees.
Strong fibers. And you can grow it like twice a year.
Yeah.
You can harvest it so often.
Yeah, and it grows.
Versus a tree that takes 50 years.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. So you're capable of...
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but have you heard of hemp concrete? Like they use hemp. They take the hemp stalk and they basically make it fibrous, and they just use some sort of material to harden it and kind of give it form. And they just make it like, blocks, and you could just build it from that. And it's lightweight, it's sustainable, it's strong.
Yeah.
So as long as they're interlocking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But why not? Why are we not using that? And I think it's even insulated to some degree.
Oh, sure. I'm sure it is. That makes so much more sense, though, than like a traditional tree farm. And you can provide so much more, and that can work for so many different things. Hemp is such a utilizable thing.
Use it for shirts.
Yeah, you can use it for clothing. You can use it for building materials of almost any nature. You can turn it into almost any type of building material. You can use it for carpet.
I think you can even use it for fuel to some degree if you extract some sort of chemicals out of it.
I'm not exactly sure. Maybe like an oil. Maybe like an oil.
Yeah.
Think of like motor oil. Instead of having to go to the gas station and buy like a traditional thing of engine oil that is absolutely awful for the environment, if you're able to extract a hemp oil,
you'd have some Herbie hippie car.
Yeah. but like the capabilities that we could potentially have with hemp would be insane.
Well, there's been a war against marijuana and hemp and cannabis for, ever.
Hemp doesn't even necessarily have to come back to...
It is. It's the same thing. It's just, it's different genetic of it, but at its core... So, like, I think the issue is if you legalize one, the other one has to be. Because you can't say, like, one thing is good and not when they're like almost it's like a quarter with like two sides. They're different, but they are the same family.
It's still
It's still the same thing. Yeah. And I think that's part of it, because if you do that, because it used to be legal. They used to do it. And the fact that we went away from it is like, stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? You're right. It's so useful. It's so utilized.
It can be I think it's too renewable.
It wouldn't be it's too cost efficient.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make a lot of profit.
It literally is.
Well, maybe it could, but it's not necessarily about that. It's the fact that it would make so many lives better and easier.
Yeah. And
you can make so many more houses.
Ultimately would be a lot better for the environment. Could you imagine? It would take so much less land.
Or even think about the amount of CO2 that amount of land could produce versus some trees that are going to be there forever. You're going to have that rich abundance every 6-8 months. I don't know, however much it is. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus trees that will...
And you wouldn't necessarily have to... We wouldn't have to be cutting trees down. Mm-hmm. We could be able to... Which would come back to having more land... to be able to not be overpopulated. And then there's more area for people to live, because you have these crops that are producing 10 times as much twice a year.
Yeah. So
we don't need all of this other land, because we have these smaller plots of land that are just doing as much or more.
What's weird is I feel like if that were to become legal, to come out in some sort of mass production commercial idea, it would be like reinvented as a new idea.
Yeah.
And that's insane, because
for sure.
I don't know this for certain, but I guarantee you there were, indigenous ancient cultures and civilizations that were utilizing this very well much.
Oh, for sure.
At least I hope so.
Yeah. I have seen within the past like 10 years that people have made like hemp lumber. And they said it was great building materials and stuff like that. It's just doesn't have the access to it that we have to traditional trees, because
Well, I wonder if they're doing that in like legal states, if they're getting a hemp industry. Now, I know there's like a CBD kind of idea and like a hemp lotion and oil kind of stuff, but I wonder if there's a commercial aspect.
I would imagine.
Do you know any buddies in Colorado or California that'd be doing construction?
Not with hemp.
I think we got a couple Colorado viewers and maybe a couple California viewers. So if you know, let us know.
Yeah,
shoot, that's useful information. I'm curious.
I think one of the biggest things would be reworking how things are made, though. In the sense of a traditional lumber mill isn't going to be able to make hemp lumber because it's not coming in the same form.
Right.
Because a hemp lumber is more of like it's kind of like a flower, I suppose, or whatever that would have to be compressed down into this lumber.
Well, I could be mistaken, but isn't it the stalk? Because hemp grows like 8 feet on the short end. Like it's tall plants. Yeah. And the stalks are, I mean, they can almost become the size of the can.
Right.
And so I think, and I could be wrong, but I think they harvest the stalk to use it for fibrous things kind of thing.
Sure, maybe.
And I think the flower of the hemp might be utilized for more of your oils and your, I don't know, topical stuff.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But because, I mean, at least I think so. Because it's like super.
It would make sense. But, I mean, even
you can make ropes out. The rope would be like the strongest natural rope you could.
I mean, the stalk would still have to be turned into something that's 2 inches by 4 inches by 8 feet. So it'd still have to be like, I don't know how they would do it necessarily, like chopped up and then compressed into.
But what if it was like hemp blocks? So you basically just shredded it in a way, and then you just put it in a vat of mixture, and then you just form press blocks, and then those come out. And there's, from what I heard, they're super lightweight. Like you could literally like throw it like a football, and you could catch it without getting smacked in the face. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, think about. I mean, just the practicality of that. If you're building on a second floor, you could literally just like chuck them up and not get tired. Like it's just, I don't want to say paperweight, but but that would be an idea to go about it. But you're still right. You would have to reutilize the already existing lumber mills.
Yeah, the lumber mills and stuff would have to be reworked in how they're creating things. But to an extent, because I mean, there's things like particle board, which is essentially what that is. It's a similar concept because particle board is essentially just sawdust glued and compacted. It's essentially what particle board is. And then there's like OSB, which is just a type of plywood that's like wood chips.
Oh, I've seen that, like little chips that are kind of compressed and packed.
Yep, that's all that OSB is. It's just like a bunch of chips of wood. So all these are, I guess there's already kind of things in place.
But still, the idea with that being said is you could apply it to an idea that we already have in place.
Yeah.
Versus I was essentially saying create Lego blocks.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, there's building materials that are kind of comparable.
No,
like,
I mean,
there's similar things.
The hotel that I work at, they just built the hotel using ICF blocks, which is like almost like a sound resistant blue styrofoam, almost Lego that they filled concrete in on the sides, and then they put stucco on the outside.
Right.
But it was weird because they were, I mean, they had rebar. They had rebar, of course, because of the concrete.
Yeah, because it still needs to be strengthened or whatever.
Sure. But they were literally just putting these things on there, and then they were taking a hammer and go boop, 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 and just going on like boop, boop,
right.
boop, boop.
I mean, it's just like laying brick, essentially. It's the same concept, but it's
super light.
Yeah, for sure. And the cool thing about that, though, is like, it would be, if, say you were to tear a structure down, it would be biodegradable. Hemp would be biodegradable.
Oh, yeah.
The hemp portion of it.
Literally just.
Yeah. But it would still be built strong enough to last, and it would have to last what you would expect lumber to last.
Sure.
But like, I feel like if it were exposed to the elements, it would degrade and be a lot better for the environment rather than like what traditional building materials is, like concrete blocks. Those aren't gonna ever disintegrate.
Well, lumber relatively would be okay.
Lumber for the most part.
Idea.
Yeah, lumber for the most part, which is one of the main building materials. Yeah. But there's a lot of potential with it that's definitely lost out on.
And it's 2021 and we're still not utilizing it.
Yeah.
And instead we're throwing people in jail for smoking it. It's nuts. Yeah. Not saying do drugs because that's not good, but there's a reason why it's illegal. More than what they tell.
Because it can't be monetized enough. They can't control it enough.
You can't monetize nature.
No.
You literally cannot do it. That was one of the things, even as a kid, I was just like, I knew drugs were bad, but again, I also had the understanding that this was a plant. So I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
A thing that just grows is not good.
Right.
Or bad, illegal, you can go to jail for it. And I used to think like, so how, if you literally just say somebody was driving down the road and they flicked a seed in your yard and you just were not diligent enough to cut the weed in your yard. Like, you know what I mean? Like how, where's the line? It seems so weird.
Meanwhile, it's okay for the medical industry to grow poppy plants.
And inject you for a raffle. And inject you for a raffle.
Yeah.
What?
Oh. Jesus. But literally, like, they're growing poppy plants and they're giving you opioids.
What's even, you're so right, but to double down on that, they're having our soldiers defend poppy fields in other countries.
Yeah.
Like, that's a different type of ownership.
Yeah.
Like, that's hard to stomach. And what are the soldiers going to do? Say no? You know what I mean?
Right,
they can't, they're not in a position to do that.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, I'm going to use the word, coincidentally, have an opium problem.
Right, yeah.
Come
One
on.
of the biggest things in the States, huge opioid epidemic that we're in the middle of.
Right.
But one of the biggest things that can help people with that, hemp.
Yeah. And
cannabis.
To tie this kind of into it, and one of my employees, she was able to kind of shed light on this, but one of the sad realities of all this COVID stuff is all these people who are truly struggling with addiction, they not only had their support removed from them, as in the sense of like meetings and stuff like that, but then they got stimulus money.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think they used that stimulus money for?
I'm sure there was an insane amount of relapses that happened. Probably
and
a disgusting
overdoses
amount.
And deaths.
Yeah. Like, I remember
this poor lady that I work with. She had two, different encounters, but she had one that she personally knew. And
I remember
so crazy
several times over this period where there was like on the Weather Channel, I got a thing that said like a local overdose warning going on, like, because there's I can't remember exactly how.
I hate to laugh, but I just envision people just passing out in the streets, just like there's a wave of opium just in the air, a wave of fentanyl just in the gust in the wind.
But like, there's literally warnings that essentially that there was bad opioids around, there's bad heroin around, there's bad fentanyl, whatever it may be, like, and that lots of people are overdosing. It's like, Jesus. It feels like this is almost to blame being put into this pandemic.
Oh, for sure. It hasn't helped. I mean, shoot, I'll be honest, I've drinking much more since this whole lockdown kind of thing.
Right.
Because, I mean, one, what are you going to do? Two, kind of a little stressed, I'm a little comfy in the sense that I'm comfortable in the idea that I do believe that there's a plan in place and that I think that we're in good. Things are too crazy for them to be actually real. For me, this is only my opinion. Yeah. And I think that this stuff very well could have been a reality. But if for me, and again, only my opinion, if this was actually going to become reality, we wouldn't be getting it all at once. These would be slow drips over years. And I think we were getting that.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, whether it was somebody, some people, they're like, oh, well, whether they hopefully got control of it, but then they're like, oh, okay, well, let's show them what really happened. And then they put the pedal to the metal. Or the people who were doing the slow drips realized that the time is running out and they were like, uh-oh, let's just throw it all. Let's just put it all at the wall. Let's see what we could do. So I don't know. Either way, I think there is a better force in control. So that's why I'm getting a little comfy. Perhaps. That's just me, though. Do you feel otherwise?
I don't know what to feel.
That's fair, dude. Say that, because honestly, I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about that, because I guarantee you that's most people.
Yeah, no, I don't know where to be. I don't know what side of the fence I'm on. I'd like to believe that we're in good hands.
I will say this: one side of the fence, potentially, more than likely, from my understanding, doesn't do very good things to children. Yeah, and I'm not on that side.
No,
I'm not on that side. No. So when you really look at the extremes of it, in my opinion, as far as picking sides, which I don't even like to say that because that's still really weird, but there's really only one side to be on.
Yeah.
But even still, though, it's, yeah, no, I'm sure. I mean,
I don't know
what to think. You know what I mean? Like, what to think. Like, is this actual Orwellian idea really a thing?
I feel like we're being told what to think, and I'm just not following that. Like,
so you're not buying into the program.
Yeah. There's media outlets that are like, don't worry, everything's fine. Everyone's in good hands. We're all taken care of. Just trust the system and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know if I should trust it. I want to, but like, I've been seeing what's going on. It's kind of like, I want to say that there's a better purpose, but I don't know if there is. Well,
it's hard to be definite. And that's why I think, and I could be wrong, but and you might not be, but I feel like a lot of people are looking for that thing to come from out here. Outside of yourself, like some sort of external input, whether it be a person, whether it be a thing, whether it be a supernatural thing.
Well, I feel like a lot of people are looking outward for their opinion. I'm not. That's kind of why I'm lost on the fence somewhere of where to feel.
Cool. No, that's cool.
I'm not looking towards a media outlet. I'm not looking towards our governor. I'm not looking towards the president to be like, everything's cool. I'm kind of like, I'm searching for my own reasoning behind things that are going on, and I just can't. I'm not grasping anything. It's like, I don't know. They just did something weird with this one, so I'm letting that go.
Yeah.
This looks good. Nope. And I just have to keep letting things go. Like, I don't know.
I think the big idea with that is that's the point. Keep grabbing, and then eventually you'll grab enough to where you can decide yourself what your plate should be.
Yeah.
You know? But
don't just grab the first thing you see and...
Yeah, or only that.
Or if it feels wrong, just actually think about what you're grasping.
If it feels wrong, I think you said something very important there. You have to feel it.
Yeah.
And I think we have been almost trained to not trust our gut anymore.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, if you don't feel good about something, you shouldn't do it.
Right,
you shouldn't do it. Exactly. Yeah. Just that right there.
And if you have a doubt in your mind, then like, maybe it's not right.
Sure. Doesn't necessarily freeze and paralysis of any fear. You know what I mean?
No.
But definitely trust your gut.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's kind of where I've been with things. So it's like, I don't know. Does someone have a better vision? Is there really something better going on that I'm just missing? Maybe, but like, I'm just kind of on the fence, just riding the roller coaster.
One way I was able to kind of more grasp the idea a little bit is of how bad things are trying to be seen. And I can't just agree with that. You know what I mean? In the sense of how horrible things are. So if that is the case, then only good could come. The opposite has to happen. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it can't be a mixture, I suppose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's either one or the other. And again, I don't want to make it like a decision, like, you know, a team kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although, again, it seems a fairly easy decision if you're a sane person. But still, though, it's very, because of how big and interwoven it is, it's so complex and nerve-wracking. And honestly, it's exhausting. It can be super exhausting.
Oh, for sure.
But
I think at the end of this, I think we'll come out well. At the end of this, I think the ending result will be beneficial in one way or another, whatever it may be. I don't think we're going to come out all bad, but to say that I think someone has like a bigger picture in mind, I don't necessarily know about that. I think we as the people will come out of this better.
Okay. Do you think there's people that are doing things to help make it better?
Sure. I mean, somewhere.
Okay.
Someone.
Okay. So there that's kind of what I was getting at, is if there was some sort of good force in play. And I'm assuming the good force is working through people. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's like a gust of wind just going out there and knocking them out. But because, and again, when do we reach our wit's end? You know?
I feel like people are there. I feel like people are starting to get kind of fed up.
And so what happens? That's what I want to know. Because and again, I think, not that I know, but I have a strong belief or a faith, if you will, about the end result. You know what I mean? But how to get there is one that I cannot almost even theorize. Like there's a couple ideas out there, but they all, and again, this kind of was saying before, if you would have told me in 2018 that we'd be living in this, I'd be like, you're totally crazy.
Yeah.
So still, it could obviously happen, but I don't know. Because not that I'm looking for any external force, but still something has to actually physically change.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise the alternative would be all of us hive minding together and just start walking together. You know what I mean? Like that other, you know, there's no, what else?
There's two extremes. People are either going to separate or come together. I think those are the end results that we'll see. I think separating is going to be awful. That's the bad. Yeah. That's the bad side, where, like, I mean, who even knows what the outcome of that could be? That could be awful. That could mean
a
almost Armageddon level war.
An ear tag cattle.
Yeah.
Literally, probably.
Yeah. That could come down to like Armageddon level of war. If there were to be a massive civil war that broke out at this point in America, it would be bad.
And though a lot of outlets are saying that there is, I firmly believe there's always this idea of the silent majority, right? Like the minority are the loudest voices. You know what I mean? And the majority are normally silent, working people who just do their job, come home, do what they do. You know, I don't want to paint it so monotonously, but they're the ones with the actual voice. It's like a weird conundrum idea that, like, you know, ironically or whatever. So it's like almost once that they decide, we decide, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
That's why, like, I don't think there's a civil war wouldn't happen in my perspective, because I don't think there's actually enough people out there that hate other people to do it. I
don't see there being a civil war.
It's like small militias to me.
Honestly, I almost feel like on the other side, I said there's one side where we separate, one where we come together. I feel like the coming together is going to be like a rebellion, rather.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see it as like stand up. Like literally we've just been not sitting down, but like we've just been kind of getting stepped on for so long. And at some point we're just, and in my head, and I know not literally, but like all one minded thing together, we all just say enough.
Right.
Like we're not doing it anymore. Okay. Right. We're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're done with this.
Right. Literally. Like, okay, turn the lights on.
Yeah.
You know, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, that's probably not usually going to happen, but.
No. We say turn the lights on, the sun comes up.
Well, the one way that it could, and this was the other thing too. So again, the end result, but how do you make that happen in a real world sense? Well, one way would be militarily. So one thing that I do think, and I think we might have talked about this before, but there's more trust for a military personnel versus some sort of government personnel.
Yeah.
Though they are a government asset. But beside of the point, there's more moral, you know, code of conduct, whatever. A nuke scare, you know, that would be one way, because ultimately what we're talking about, like a great awakening, an idea, a change in the system, a whole, you know, switch. That would be one way to turn it off. And then all you have to do is just turn the new one back on.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't want to make it like, I think, again, we might have referenced this before, but not like a literal switch. But
essentially,
I was talking to my fiance about it. She was talking about the internet. And she's like, oh, they're going to have to turn down the internet? And I was like, if they do this, Yeah, you have to.
Right.
You have to.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Like, it literally has to stop existing for a period of time. Therefore, they can boot up at something
Reboot
different.
the system.
Yeah. Whether
Start
it be,
this simulation over.
and I think I was talking to one of my other coworkers about this. I love that I get to talk to people about this. But he brought up the simulation idea, and I said, what if we're in a quantum simulation? What is quantum? Obviously, we brushed on this before, but this idea that our consciousness has some sort of effect on this reality in some sort of materialistic sense without it being physical. You know what I mean? What if that's the ones and zeros that we can't see? Yeah. You know? And again, ones and zeros is still a physical representation of something that, and I try to tell people this too, because like this whole 4D, 5D concept idea, they're like trying to have some sort of three-dimensional idea to grasp a hold of. And I said, wait a minute, throw that aside. Why would you assume that 4D or 5D or whatever other dimension would have anything to do with the third dimensional or two-dimensional or one-dimensional?
It's completely different.
It would have to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't be, you know?
It's kind of like Interstellar when he goes into the black hole passing the event horizon or whatever.
Yeah.
He goes into a completely different dimension and he sees a whole nother side of things.
That was a movie that I don't know if maybe it was kind of a red pill, so they would say, but it helped me question another side.
Yes.
It gave me a perspective that I was like, whoa.
What if?
Wait a minute. It almost made me a little uncomfortable when I first saw it.
Yeah.
Because it, like, weirdly enough, kind of made sense.
Yeah.
In a very strange way.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And I was like, almost like a familiar.
Yeah.
You know?
Kind of like, I mean.
Afterlife-ish.
Yeah, but when he's sitting there, he like taps on the books or whatever. Could you imagine if that's what it is this whole time? Like, say you hear a little like knock.
Well, see, yes, right. But like, even that movie depicted that knock, that move, that push from a three-dimensional depiction. Mm-hmm. But why does it have to be that? You know what I mean? So like, it could still be without the physical three-dimensional representation of that thing. You know what I mean? And I know that it would be affecting a physical thing, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to believe that. It makes it easier for me to understand. Yeah. The fact that, like, because again, if you just say that a person is floating in between the wall and come on. Yeah. What are you talking about? Right. There's no foot going through the wall, you know?
Yeah. No, for sure.
But what if it's the thing that's not physical of our self that it actually is? So it's is just, you, but it's not this just, you.
It's the conscious
spirit, quantum connection, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. God, because even still, that could be a concept of God, because God is just this. I mean, in the idea of being made in God's image, who's to say that God's image is supposed to be this? Right. And it's actually the thing looking through your eyes. Yeah. Because that's one way that I was kind of able to grasp is the thing looking through your eyes is the same thing looking through my eyes. We're different people in the sense that we inhabit different meat vehicles, but we're all here together. Yeah. You know, and that's why I think that, like, I mean, there was a saying that I think it was in a movie, but, you know, where we go one, we go all. I feel like there's a lot of truth, a lot of literal truth in that idea. And you could even break it down to so far. I went down a deep rabbit hole with that concept because, you know, they always talk about the 1%, right? The 1% who control and own everything, right? Essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it takes 1%. Where we go one, we go all. So 1% of the population, though they gained our physical representation of power, money, you know, they essentially control. So we are all going where that 1% wants us to go. Right. But if we flip that and have a different 1%, or who's to say more, you know, I think there's a connection involved that if enough of us decide, we all end up going with it. Yeah. And not some sort of weird cultish, coercive kind of idea. You know what I mean? Like, as I was saying that, I was realizing like that could kind of get taken a little bit out of context.
Everyone drinks the punch.
It's funny. My dad and I were just talking about that today. He was like, "Oh, do you know about that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do." I think that was where they learned, where they coined the term "don't drink the Kool-Aid."
Yeah.
So no, not like that, but. I don't know. There's weird synchronicities, which of course you can use that stupid word called coincidence. Yeah. But again, food for thought. What if? You know? And seems better.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think ultimately that's what people want.
I feel like reality, like what's beyond this is so unimaginable.
Of course. But that just needs to be accepted. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people try to find reasoning in this or that, and you can't.
No, you really can't. You just kind of got to like go on.
And I think that, and this is where I think a lot of faith is such an easy thing to toss aside. But what if that actually holds weight in a different dimension? Because it has to do with your true intentional belief. Sure. You know what I mean? So it has something to do with non-physical, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it is, but what if?
My viewpoint is just live your life as a good person and you'll live your next as a good person, whatever that next life may be. Even if it's not necessarily a next life. But,
okay. So who's to say that the physical actions has any weight to hold in the non-physical reality? You know what I'm saying? Versus the intention. So let me just say this. What if the thought of you helping somebody do something is actually weighed more than you, and I'm not saying you just don't do it then, but versus actually physically doing it. You know what I mean? Because that would be a physical thing versus the non-physical thing. Like having faith could have more weight in something versus a physical thing. You know what I mean? Looking to a physical thing. But I agree. Be a good person for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just be a good person. I mean,
I guess more so just questioning what faith could have in another dimension.
But have faith in what?
Nothing external, right? Because that's still looking for something else, right?
Yeah.
But I think that thing that you should have faith in, not yourself, but the thing that makes yourself go.
Yeah.
Because that is something that is internal that you may be able to tap into, whether you, I'm not saying you're just going to go around talk. I mean, maybe some people can go around and talk and then all of a sudden it's kind of like connecting to their inner self or whatever like that. But that's kind of what I mean. The inner self, the past the ego, past, I mean, I don't know the whole levels of the psyche kind of thing, but the, you know what I mean?
Core.
That thing. And what does that lead to? I'm not, the wormhole to another dimension. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the possibilities of that are endless.
Yeah.
But more so looking to that because that drives the focus to in here in yourself versus out there. Because you should never be looking out there for answers.
It's essentially have faith in yourself.
With clear intention and good morals, have faith in yourself to make a good decision.
Yes.
And follow your gut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what it boils down to is following your gut, is trusting your
I think people obsess way too much with the external. And
very much so.
Yeah.
And they look for outer worldly fixes for their inner worldly problems.
They're real problems.
Yeah.
Like that are within themselves.
One of my favorite artists, though, he probably may have participated in some things that we'll leave it aside. But Eminem, he said, I'm like your problems, self-made.
Yeah.
And there's so much weight in that. There's so many people out there, myself included, who have problems that we blame out there for it, the outer world for it. But in actuality, it stems from in here.
Yeah.
You know?
And my own personal ability to actually change what the problem is.
And that's so empowering when you know that, because then you realize that like you're actually in control.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, nobody, well, I mean, to our knowledge, nobody's really in control of us. I mean, I think I have free will. Well, I like to believe that I have free will anyways.
What do you mean by nobody? Because I would absolutely agree that there's not a physical person out there who has control over your body except for DeWine, who wants to stick you in the arm for $1 million chance. But you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he doesn't even have control, really. Right.
Or so joke.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, what if we're in a simulation and we're being controlled in the simulation? I mean, that's beyond our knowledge.
Okay.
So that's where I'm saying, like, to my knowledge, I'm not in control.
Let's expand on that. There's nothing I can feel that's connected to me, right?
Right.
So where could that control be coming from? In here. A signal? Say like I'm a biological antenna receiving a signal. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well,
and just building upon your theory there, that still relates to an idea that we're connected to something. Now, whether that be a motherboard of a computer, or whether that be what people call God.
I mean, think about Sims.
Sure. I feel like we bring up Sims a lot.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Like, it still results in this idea that there is some sort of internal connection. Again, whether that be a motherboard or whether that be what people call God, and still boiling down to the idea, the answer's not out there.
Yeah. No. I mean, not in the world that we're envisioning, not what we can see out there. It is internal, but I mean, I guess in the sense of a simulation, it would literally be just possible to turn us off like a computer.
Okay.
And everything would just be wiped or saved onto a hard drive. Maybe that's what happens every single night when you go to bed.
Okay. But what I would have a problem with is tying that to like our computers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would have to be something different, at least for me to start chewing on it a little bit. And so, okay, a quantum computer, a quantum simulation, maybe we're just quantum wetware brains that walk around, you know what I mean, in biological vehicles. Maybe.
Or like, it's kind of like Avatar, the movie, where like they get in those pods and then they get to go be these things.
Or like the Matrix, where they're literally in like a
or
vat.
hardwired to the back of their head.
Yeah. You know, and they're in some sort of program, you know? Without a breaking slightly away from maybe the actual things that were in the movie. The concept, though, could be very real because guess what their energy was being expended to? The corporation.
Yeah.
For the longest time, who were we expending our energy to via working in taxes? The corporation.
Yeah.
There's some weird parallels between that.
The Corporation of America.
And who wakes up? Neo. Spell Neo backwards. One.
Yeah.
Well, move the E in the end, but same letters.
Owen.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? But like, one.
Yeah.
That's maybe that stupid word coincidence.
We're just one person's world.
1%'s world right now.
We are Keanu Reeves' world.
I would rather be in Keanu Reeves' world than like George Soros' world or something crazy like that.
At least he's one hell of a fighter in that movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. But okay, so let's work with that a little bit because what does he do in the movie? He like stops bullets and stuff like that, right? With his mind or whatever. What if we do have quantum powers and that's what, telepathy is? That sort of stuff.
That's a matter of controlling our entire brain at one time.
Only because our brain is either aware of or is part of the fabric of reality.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm sitting here thinking about like we're the Matrix, and
it's weird, man. It's weird, but ultimately you get to a point that you can, and that's why. It's weird, but maybe faith does have some sort of actual implication because what individually we can't do anything. Mm-hmm. If you're individual only by yourself, you're not going to stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least you're not going to, you may go down as a martyr, but you're not going to, whatever. So you kind of have to have faith in the sense that because now, if we weren't aware of what was going on, that'd be a different story. Because if you're not aware of it, you don't realize what's actually going on.
Right.
You're subject to just whatever you're being programmed too.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I hate to use the word woke because it's kind of the opposite of woke. Woke's like the other side of the coin, kind of thing. But like to be awakened and aware to the idea of what you're being propagated to, like just literally the lottery idea, you can kind of see through it. Like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, and even to the point, I think where I started to realize I was breaking the matrix a little bit, not to like some sort of crazy Neo idea.
Right.
But it's not the left and the right. It's not the blue and the red. It's not the Democrat and the Republican. There's bad on both sides.
Yeah.
That is like part of the foundation of the matrix is thinking that you have to pick a side.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously we're not like, it's not the Matrix, but I mean, the idea that one person is giving us the control to do basically whatever we want, but he's still controlling the world within his way, within his thought process of how he can create a world. What if there's 100,000 people doing this exact same thing in this, say it's an experiment in their world or whatever, and there's 100,000
multiverse?
Yeah. And there's 100,000 other worlds, and essentially we're just someone else's brain.
So let's turn that potentially nihilistic and negative viewpoint and turn it to a positive. What if that may be the case, but what if it's an experiment to see if somebody has the moral compass, and whether it be a collective unit or whatever it is, to become our own, then I don't want to dare use the word creator, but like then be in charge of creating another universe.
Maybe they're capable of pulling part of this thought out and creating a being. Essentially, obviously, but like they wouldn't necessarily just pull a human out, but like they can extract a thought of this singular person out of this entire universe that is created here with us in it, and they're able to plant it here. It grows.
Boom, Big Bang.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Big Bang, this new person has their own Big Bang, and they create their universe. That'd be crazy. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
But the only thing that I would have a hard time accepting of, conceptually, maybe for me, but I don't think those are,
I don't
meat vehicle people. I just can't, because we die, you know what I mean? Because we die in the sense of our bodies, I can't think of this going anywhere but here.
Right.
Even if somebody else is in charge.
I mean, we can't think of that, but like, I don't know, the concept of an afterlife at all, the concept of
I think of myself as a flying little wisp with no legs or nothing like that. Just kind of like moving just around like a little ball of energy.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Just a light ball.
The same thing looking through my eyes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whatever that is. And, you know, it would just be that. I just wouldn't be using my eyes. I'd probably have 360 vision. I mean, I don't know. Then again, that's just my... And I don't even know if I'm not saying that that's what I believe, but right. I was plagued at birth with this just idea that I cannot stop asking questions about things. Like I used to get in trouble all the time. Like, oh, why would you even ask that? Like, oh, you can't ask that. Like, what do you mean I can't ask that question?
You're just supposed to remain ignorant and just do as we say.
Yeah. You know, and I don't always get the right answers, but I think there's something about just
asking.
Sure. Cause if you're not, who is?
It's fun to think about anyways.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to think about, like, I get planted somewhere after this and, like, I get to create my universe and now I'm the creator. That'd be cool. So
as long as you, because there has to be guidelines there. Now, I'll be honest, we probably haven't had the best experiment, meaning if that were the case, we definitely got a bad guy. Like he didn't have good intentions she didn't have good intentions.
Or maybe I wouldn't even necessarily say that. Perhaps
all the bad things going on in the world.
Maybe it's not their fault.
They're in control of it all. You're saying the experiment got out of hand?
Yeah. Or they gave...
Then they're not truly the creator.
Or they gave too much free reign, potentially. Or maybe...
So then that would make it our fault. And
yes.
You're not the problem. I'm not the problem. They're not the problem.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
We hope you're not the problem. But you know what I mean? Like I have a heart, and this is just me, but to paint humanity as bad seems difficult. Though there
it's not
are
all
bad
of humanity.
people.
There's bad people. It's not all of humanity, but like maybe it was the attempt at a free range experiment.
Maybe we
just kind of see what happens. Like,
let's put the free range humans on this tax farm. We'll see how that situation, that simulation works out.
Well, I mean, think about it. If we've really been here for billions of years, though, and say we were just planted here with single cells, and they're just like, I wonder what happens with a single cell. What's going to happen over the next couple billion years or whatever? That just like it grows, and they let it grow as it would naturally, and there's been natural disasters. There's been...
You think someone's that patient?
It depends. What if a billion years to them is a blink of the eye?
Ooh, they do say in the Bible that one day in heaven, or in heaven, for the Bible goes, is like 1,000 years on earth.
Yeah.
So it kind of has that idea of like some parallel. Right.
Similar concept, at least the way I'm currently thinking of it. This is all just things I'm coming up with off the top of my head.
Sure. And again, we're not experts on anything. You should know this by now. This is our 8th podcast, right?
Yeah, this is number 8.
This is number 8. So we're not experts on anything. We just love providing food for thought and buffet style. So thank you for hanging out with us so far. But it's so right. It's so true.
It wouldn't even have to be. They wouldn't have to be patient though. Like,
no,
if a billion years just passes to them, like, whatever.
That's a week.
Yeah, like, whatever. Not a big deal. So, like, maybe. Maybe they just gave us the ability to.
So then that would eliminate the idea of free will to a degree. You know what I mean? Because then there would be relatively something pulling the strings. To
an extent, yeah. It just depends how much they want to pull.
Right.
Which, doesn't it feel...
who they pull.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't it feel a lot of times like there's some strings being pulled somewhere, though?
Sure. Not in my own personal self? Or you mean just in the world?
In the world, in general. There's strings being pulled somewhere.
In the world, for sure. But I don't see that coming... Oh, maybe. I see that coming from a small group of people who have, over time, gained control of this reality.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily see it, whether I believe it or not, they think it comes from another place. So I guess maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, Maybe.
You only need to pull the strings of a select few to control many.
Very true, especially when it's in a relative system of our own. More so, definitely more prevalent in the sense of like monarchy, royalty, that idea. Sure, of course. There's literally a bloodline lineage.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
You ain't a part of the party.
Right, yeah. You're literally just lucky to be born in. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. And people like it.
Yeah.
What?
They're just okay with accepting that this family is just in control forever. It doesn't matter who's born next and what their thought process is.
What I could never wrap my head around is when. When did the first person, I'm assuming a conquering or the discovery of a land, the person who just either killed everybody else or was willing to write the story the way that they wanted to write the story. But where did it start? You know what I mean? That's what I can't... Where was the seed planted that there was going to be a royal family?
Somebody came across a pot of gold and I'm rich now, you all obey me.
Maybe that was it.
Probably wealth.
But it just, what I mean? It's hard. It's so crazy to conceptualize that there is some...
It probably started with someone that had real good intentions and was a really good leader for a community. And they passed their heir down, and it just kept.
And like, their great grandkids are total assholes.
Yes. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, I mean,
I could only hope. But in with that being said, though, I think that might, if that were to be the case, that would hold a lot of truth on a lot of other things, in the sense of, like, you know, the Catholic Church very well was probably founded on very good moral ideas and understandings. But as that was passed on, and the great grandkids that got to inherit that are total assholes.
Yeah, yeah, and they know that they're being born into it, so they're raised with this
expectation.
Yeah, they expect to be worshipped, essentially.
Well, dude, not to totally. I mean, we were kind of talking about royalty, but not to delve totally back into the politics. But like the whole Hunter Biden thing. Like, that dude was literally, I mean, okay, I should be careful with that word because he's not, but almost getting away with murder. Like, the things that are coming out. What?
But he's the son of a president.
I know. And I think that just accentuates what you were trying to get at there, is this idea of he just had no expectation of ever having any accountability for his actions.
But his dad can pull strings.
Oh my gosh. You're right. Did you hear about, he did an interview, whether he's alive, real or not, but regardless, they did an interview with him, and I hate to laugh because anybody actually struggling with addiction issues, I truly feel for you. It's horrible, and I hope that you do well. But he was saying on his worst crack benders, he was scourging through the rug for anything that resembled crack. And he said he smoked more Parmesan cheese than anybody out there looking for crack. And it's like, this guy is the president's son. What? It further just, we're living in a movie. Or we're seeing a movie, I should say.
I feel like you can't hold the president accountable for his son's actions, but the son should be held accountable for his own actions.
Sure. I'm not saying go blame him for it.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's no accountability done to the individual actually doing the thing.
It's showing that there's strings being pulled.
And how obvious do they have to make it?
Right. You know? For sure.
I mean, and again, I say that as if people didn't already know strings were being pulled. I mean, people always knew that.
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of that is the problem, is the fact that people knew all this stuff. It's just that nobody either really cared or it wasn't obvious enough to act on.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. It's insane. But when I heard that, I was just thinking, at one point we did have a pretty decent span of, 4 years or so, but you used to like look up to the presidential figure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least he used to hold such a high professional stature, and that, you can't do that. And that's why I'm not blaming the president for his son's action, but the fact that he's not calling for accountability is part of a problem. I'm saying he's got to go throw him in prison or something like that, though he probably deserves to be in prison.
Yeah.
He should at least encourage accountability.
Right, for sure. I mean, kind of like the Pope too, though. Like how people worship the Pope.
Dude, it's so crazy.
Like, you're talking about how, like, people, we used to, as kids, we used to look up to presidents like these great things. Like, these presidents are awesome. They're in control of the country. They're taking care of the country, whatever. We used to look up to them like that as kids. It was kind of the same thing with the Pope. We're always taught, like, the Pope is this great person, and, like, people worship the Pope. But what's the Pope? He's just a person.
Well, you're right, but the reason why there was such a high stature to the Pope is because it's said that he was the voice of God. Like, he was the one that had the connection to God that could disseminate his speech to the people. So that's like the reason for the idea of him being on a pedestal. But still, though, you're very right.
And he just lies.
Yeah, if he's even alive, because I saw so many crazy things. Have you seen the one video where, like, it was even on a news channel, but like he was there
and he wasn't,
and then he just like vanished.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? But you're so right. I mean, again, don't look no further than celebrities as well.
Yeah.
Why are these people on pedestals and statues?
And this all comes back to what you were talking about earlier. Having faith in yourself.
Yes.
Looking into yourself and not all these outside sources everywhere. That's
the biggest deception I think humanity's ever been told is, I have the answers. Yeah. Look to me for the answers.
Right.
No, that's not how it works.
Right. Yeah, no.
That's not how it works. And that's why it's such a beautiful idea that in America, at least so we thought, though we're learning that we have been lied to, that your vote actually matters. Like, you get to decide. Now, I agree. You're one of, hopefully, I don't know how many adult population out there, but
300 million-ish.
Sure. Your vote is only 300 million or so, but still you have a say.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And that's, I don't know. That's something that is being diminished, and it's sad. It's truly sad.
Yeah.
Because we here actually have a say over what our reality is. Or so we thought.
Yeah.
We were at least told we were.
Yeah, we think we have a say.
For sure. But I don't know. There's definitely, in my opinion, a lot of good things to come. There has to be. Because we've experienced so much bad.
I agree. I think the end outcome of everything that's happened within the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be a good ending that we'll see. And then I think there'll be X amount of years of good that'll come from it.
Ooh, we can kind of end it up here because that was a good message to end on. But one last question. Do you think there's going to be a flip side after that? Do you think that there might be like because I've thought about this myself, but in a very juvenile way, one side of the quarter is good, one side of the quarter is bad. Whether it be supernatural, whether it be physical, whether it be whatever forces. For a period of time, it's good. For a period of time, it's bad. For a period of time, it's good. For a period of time, it's bad.
Well, it's said in the Bible, there's something about that in the Bible about how like it'll be like hell on earth for X amount of years, and then it'll be good for X amount of years. So that's going to the Bible. You can't trust everything that the Bible says, but the concept has been there for thousands of years, a couple thousand anyways. So
I think part of the hard part about understanding the Bible is you're taking non-3-dimensional things and try to make in them 2-dimensional words.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Got to be a little bit of a benefit of the doubt for there. But I think so too. But with that being said, we've got some awesome years to look forward to if that's the case.
For sure, yeah.
So
it's got to make up for this.
Of course. So, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you made it this far, truly, truly thank you. If you haven't already and you made it this far, like the video, subscribe. I don't know. We're all over other major podcasts, so platforms. Just let us know. Let us know your opinions. Let us know your voice. I mean, we're curious.
Yeah, we talked about a lot. So bring something up.
Yeah, hopefully we provided some food for thought for you.